This is the third part of the series on NLP Principles. As before, if you've not watched part 1, it'd be worth watching that. You might even find part 2 interesting as well. Today's principle is we all have all of the resources that we need, or we can get them. Now in NLP we use the word resources a lot, and to me a resource is just something that's useful, and we're talking about things like confidence and motivation and self-belief and a positive attitude and problem solving skills. You could say that your resources are your superpowers. So if we're saying that we have all of the resources that we need, what we're saying here then is that we already have all the confidence we need, all the motivation we need, all the self-belief that we need, and all the problem-solving skills that we need. Do you believe that? What we're really saying, if we take it one step further, is that we have the resources that we need, but we might not have access to them right at this moment. If you take a person who falls to pieces before they stand up and make a presentation, they'll probably tell you that they have no confidence. If you take that same person and you present them with an exam on astrophysics and they've never studied for it, they will tell you that they're going to fail. They'll have supreme confidence that they're going to fail. If you ask them if they can remember their own name, then yes, of course they can remember their own name. They're totally confident that they'll remember their name. So when it comes to making that presentation, it's not that they don't have the resource of being confident. The truth of the matter is they've got the resource, they just don't have access to it in that moment. Another way to state this principle would be that every problem has a solution. And remember that these principles are not always true. It can just be really helpful to start out with the assumption that they are. So starting out with the assumption not only that every problem has a solution, but also that you have the capability to solve and find that solution. That can be a really healthy mindset to begin anything with. Another way of saying this is, are you focusing on problems or are you focusing on solutions? Are you living in a problem state or are you living in a resource state? All of these principles have two facets: the way that we apply them to ourselves and the way that we apply them to other people. So how do we apply this one to other people? When you come across somebody who's having difficulties with somebody, what is your natural thought process? Do you think of them as someone who's probably not going to be able to solve that? Or do you think of them as someone who's got all of the resources that they need and that they will find a solution to it? Holding these two different mindsets will have a very different outcome on your ability to help them and your ability to create rapport with them. As a coach, the greatest gift that you can ever give anybody is having belief in them before they have belief in themselves. Holding the mindset for them that they can and will solve every problem they come across will go a long way to helping them. There's a fascinating exercise that's often done as part of an NLP training program. And what happens is person A will sit down and quietly think about something that they've been struggling with. Person B will sit with them and not say a word, but will think of them as somebody who has a problem, someone who's not going to be able to solve this problem. Halfway through the exercise, person B switches round the dialogue inside their mind, and they start to think of them as someone who has all of the resources that they need, someone who will find a solution to their problem. Now, not a word is spoken during this exercise. And at the end of the exercise, more often than not, person A will say that they've made some progress with what they were struggling with. Not necessarily found a solution, but found some movement. And sometimes a little movement is all it takes. If you have a rock at the top of a hill, all you have to do is give it a little nudge and it will find its own way to the bottom. In that exercise, how is that mindset transmitted? Is it in micro muscle movements? Is it in your general vibe, or is it ESP? Who cares? It's not important. What is important is that holding the mindset that the person is resourceful and can solve their own problems will help them, and it will help you create better rapport with them. If a little kid says to you, I'm going to go to the Olympics one day and I'm going to get a gold medal, you might say to them, yeah, you are. Go for it. I believe in you. But whether you really believe in them or whether that's just something that you're saying will have a really big impact on them going forward. The way to use this principle is really simple. If you find something that's not working or it's not working easily, Just ask yourself the question, am I acting as if I have all the resources that I need and that I can solve this problem or not? It's very simple and very powerful.